What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/Fat People Stories. Okay, this is a new one, and I'm not exactly sure what the point of this subreddit is. Is this just stories of people that happen to be fat? Is it making fun of people for being fat? Who knows? However, it should be pretty entertaining to y'all. Alright, this story's called Ham Planet Almost Kills Her Dog with Fat Logic. Hello, first time posting, so bear with me. Be me, 20, female, in college, dog owner. In college, I often checked the lost and found pets of insert college town Facebook page just to make sure I kept my eyes peeled for lost pets while I was out and about. I see an unusual post from a woman trying to rehome her dog named Chardonnay. This is unusual because most people who can't take care of their dog just take them to the Humane Society animal shelter, as we live in a state where kill shelters are outlawed. So, bringing your dog to the shelter would not be putting it in danger. I click on the post and read that this woman can no longer take care of Chardonnay due to her conditions, and because Chardonnay has healthcare needs she can't afford. Post also says that she can't take the dog to the Humane Society due to her conditions. Like, okay? The dog is listed as a small Chihuahua mix who is calm and 6 years old. However, there are no pictures. For the last few months, I had been thinking about getting another small dog so my current pupper, Floyd, could have a companion. Intrigued, I write to the woman and set up a time to meet, thinking that I could help this dog get out of the situation and get a new companion. Boy, was I in for a treat. The lady agreed to meet. I suggest meeting at the local dog park so that Floyd and Chardonnay can meet each other in neutral ground. Ham Planet refuses and says I must come to her house and that the backyard is fine for introductions. I arrive at her house and knock on the door. I hear a "It's unlocked" bellow from inside. As soon as I open the door, I am met with a stench of moldy food, farts, BO, and dog crap. Whatever, I'll just get this over with. I walk into the living room and see a full-on Jupiter sitting on the couch, belly hanging over her legs and touching the ground. Jupiter is easily 500 pounds. No wonder this lady can't take care of her dog, I think to myself. Then I see this poor dog. Chardonnay is essentially a bowling ball with a face and toothpick legs. Her stomach is so round that it touches the floor. She has no neck whatsoever. I immediately feel so sorry for this dog and decide to take her, even if it means dropping her off at the Humane Society. Jupiter sees the shock on my face and says, "Don't worry, she's a happy dog. She just has issues with her thyroid. That's why she weighs so much." Insert eye roll. Jupiter then tells me how she can't afford the thyroid medication or any of that special dog food crap. I ask her when her last trip to the vet was, and Jupiter tells me that she hasn't been to the vet since she was a puppy. Well, then how did you diagnose her thyroid condition? Well, I just had a feeling. I have the same condition, and she just kept putting on weight even though I wasn't feeding her much. VetMD.com confirmed for me. I decide to let that slide because whatever. I don't want her to get defensive and not let me take Chardonnay. But I keep probing a bit out of curiosity. Okay, what do you feed her? I'd like to keep her on the same dog food brand to avoid any stomach problems when I take her. Oh, she don't get no special dog food. I usually just buy her something whenever I go out to get food. She really likes Big Macs. All my what.jpg. So she only eats fast food? Yeah, or a plate of whatever I make. She really likes fried chicken. And you did this even after you thought she had a thyroid condition? Well, I figure if she's gonna gain weight anyway, she might as well be happy and eat the good stuff instead of the nasty kibble. Facepalm.pdf. Okay, well, what's her energy level like? Jupiter goes on a long-winded explanation about how she adopted the dog 5 years ago, probably when she was still mobile, in an attempt to make her walk more and get exercise. But after the dog gained weight due to her conditions, Jupiter noticed that the dog hated walking as much as she did. Projection much? So she stopped walking her. Describes the dog as very low energy and low maintenance. told me she hates playing, doesn't like toys, doesn't like to play with other dogs, and that Jupiter keeps her locked in a crate for most of the day except letting her out to go potty in the corner. Now, at this point, I was getting irritated. This lady clearly took in Chardonnay only for personal gain, disregarded the health needs of the dog, never took her to the vet, and never even tried to address the dog's weight issue. I decided to take Chardonnay in, as I just couldn't leave her in those conditions. As I was leaving, I looked at the woman and just couldn't hold my tongue. For the sake of all animals, please never adopt another dog. No animals deserve to be treated like this, and your treatment of this dog is borderline neglect. Jupiter starts yelling about how it's not her fault the dog ended up like this, how I'm fat-shaming her, and how she is clearly capable of taking care of a dog. This is the reason I don't want to take it to the Humane Society. I don't want to be fat-shamed by skinny bimbos like you. Prior to my comment, she was totally fine with me taking Chardonnay. She gave me all the paperwork, etc., but now is yelling about calling the police for stealing her animal. I turn around and say, call them. I'm sure they'd like to hear about the conditions you have her in. I'll be going straight to the vet for a health check on Chardonnay, and I'm sure the vet would love to be a witness in any possible neglect case. I left the garbage cave with Chardonnay, the look on her face pure joy as she romped, slowly, through the grass outside to my car. Immediately, I took her to the vet. Vet estimated that given her height and length, Chardonnay should weigh 12 pounds. This dog was 35 mother-frying pounds. Did all the tests, no thyroid condition, duh, but she was diabetic and was losing her sight due to her diabetes. Also, she was going to need dental surgery because over half of her teeth had rotted due to only eating sugary, soft human food for most of her life. Sadly, dental surgery needed to wait until she lost some pounds, as it requires anesthesia, and the vet was scared to do it on such an obese pupper. Vet said this was one of the most unhealthy dogs she had ever seen in her career, and most likely would have died within a year if I had not taken her. I never heard from the police, although I did report the woman to the local Humane Society in case she attempted to get another animal. Fast forward 1 year. After a long year of diet and exercise, Chardonnay, now named Pink, to match my dog named Floyd, weighs a healthy 15 pounds, is no longer diabetic, has normal heart rate and blood pressure. She was able to get her rotten teeth removed safely. After her last vet appointment, her vet legit cried because she wasn't sure Pink was going to make it. As she started losing weight, I could see her personality come out more and more. As Jupiter said, she didn't like playing with toys, going for walks, or playing with other dogs. But as the pounds came off, she started to love doing all of these things. She can now crush a 10-mile hike like a golden retriever, and she loves to swim. She's the happiest little nugget, and I love her to death. She still begs for food whenever I eat, but I've managed to train her so that she will stare longingly from across the room instead of right in your face. She will always be a little chunky because of the extra skin and a few extra pounds that just won't come off, but I think I'll have her for at least another 8 years. You know, it's really considerate to always be on the lookout for animals that need help, because I know not many people would actually care enough to go out of their way to do stuff like that. And honestly, me included, while I'd love to have every stray animal in the world have a home, a loving home that makes them happy, I'm just like every other person in the world who just thinks, well, I mean, there's other people doing it, it's not really my problem. Which I know is a bad mentality, we should all be taking action all the time, but I'm just being honest. This story's called Fast and Loose. A good friend is immunocompromised, so in these times of Modelo virus, I am doing her shopping. Delivery isn't an option. She is fat, I'm not. Now, I would describe myself as fatomophobic, a fear of fat invading my arse. But your arse is of fairly limited interest or concern to me. Accordingly, I am disciplined about what I eat and how I exercise. I also have a mild thyroid issue, which to date I have kept at bay through intermittent fasting. At her last birthday party, my friend drunkenly wondered how I looked so well for my age. We're both around the same age and pushing on a bit. Now, knowing this person as I do, I intuited that diet and exercise was not the answer she was looking for. And as she knows my parents, genetics wasn't a good workaround either. So I shrugged a little awkwardly and tried to change the subject. But she was dogged in her pursuit of my esoteric secrets and just wouldn't let the subject drop. Eventually, I seized upon intermittent fasting, and as something that she hadn't considered before, she was finally appeased. So the current lockdown arrives. It affects her work situation, and I have her shopping list, which was a lengthy, laborious affair with fat and sugar practically pooling at the bottom of the page. But really, she intends to freeze most of it, she tells me, although I haven't asked for any such assurances, nor is the following week's list any more wholesome. My arteries are trying not to harden as my reluctant eyes scan it, and I don't find the second freezer noted anywhere. That theoretically she should be needing to house all those surplus foodstuffs. Yet still, my thoughts remain resolutely unspoken. What does irk me, however, is that she's not answering her door or her telephone when I arrive with her shopping, and I've carried them up a flight of stairs in several relays, banging on the door between each trip. She has knee pain, it's genetic apparently, hence this attention is on my part. Anyway, I'm not inclined to just leave her groceries sitting there, it's a sizable amount of money, but at the same time, I don't want to have to bring them back down to the car either. Not to mention that she shouldn't be outside of her home in a pandemic. So, unsure of what to do, I bang on the door and lean on the doorbell, but still, the door remains shut. Now, since I've got my own shopping to deal with, I lug her groceries back to my car, repack them all, bring my own stuff home before coming back half an hour later. And finally, this time, with an almighty stretch and a cavernous yawn, she answers the door. And well, she's in fine fettle.
Do you notice anything?
She's clearly excited, but frankly, I'm struggling to see over the armload of groceries. What should I be seeing? I might have sounded a little testy here.
Oh, I took your advice. I'm doing intermittent fasting now, and I think I've lost weight. It's so easy.
So apparently, with the lockdown and with her work canceled, she has taken to her bed where she stays until long after midday daily, thus explaining the unanswered doorbells and phone calls earlier. In this fashion, she skips breakfast and thereby only eats fairly solidly, if her shopping bags are anything to go by, between lunchtime and dinner inclusive. The weight loss is unconfirmed, she doesn't have any scales at home, but the sacrifice of skipping breakfast is surely apparent to all eyes. I didn't confess my doubts. I ask her instead what'll happen when work recommences and she actually has to get up in the morning. But she tells me that she's living in the moment, taking things a day at a time, that she'll cross that bridge when she comes to it, presumably floating across in her new form. I muster a good for you, all the while wondering if I myself might skip squats today for all the groceries I've lugged up her bloody staircase. And I don't mind saying that at that moment. I couldn't help but feel a little triggered by her bed. First of all, I'd like to say, Opie, you're a good friend for taking care of her. However, you really need to, be a little more honest. I'm just saying, though, that's only going to cause problems in the future because you're going to end up resenting her for all these things you leave unspoken. So I definitely recommend speaking them while you still can. And hopefully she'll understand that whatever you say isn't being said with animosity. Alright, this story's called Lazy Postal Worker Lied to Avoid Walking Whatsoever. There was a "sorry we missed you" notice in my mailbox that the postal worker tried to deliver a parcel, but that no one responded to the doorbell or knock. I was home all day. I checked my security cameras for that exact time period and see our new post lady, approximately 500 pounds, not even bother to take the mere 8 strides to my door by any means. Annoying. I proceed to just try and meet her at my mailbox on the next day's delivery attempt. But before I could even slip my shoes on and get out the door, she had already left another final attempt, no response slip, and was zooming off from my neighborhood. What the heck? I sprint to the other end of the street and just barely catch her post truck. Thankfully, I'm a runner. Hi there. So glad I caught you. I'm so confused why I keep getting these slips when I've been home for delivery each time. Can I please get my item from you?
Well, you never answer the doorbell every time I ring it, so that's why you get the notice.
The most incredulous look on my face. Ma'am, I have surveillance footage of you not even getting out of your vehicle. What you're saying isn't true. Sorry. Can we please just get my mail sorted here?
Sounds like your cameras are broken. Ridiculous. Sign this paper for me then.
She rolls her eyes and readjusts on the tiny seat of the mail truck, of which I have no clue how said chair could be comfortable enough to not want to stretch your legs every now and then and ring a doorbell. I was just so shocked at the pure laziness and audacity of this woman to lie directly to my face like this when we both know she was completely full of it. I miss my old mail guy who was light on his feet and always friendly when he came to the door. Update. I decided to file a complaint. Today, when she came back, I met her at my mailbox and asked her for her name so that I could include it in my correspondence to USPS. I didn't directly tell her I was reporting her. She does provide her name, but also goes on to say this gem. Okay, I can't do her voice again because every time I do it, it activates my gag reflex and I kind of want to vomit. So I'm doing a new one.
So actually, I didn't ring your doorbell because there weren't any cars in the driveway, so it's safe to assume in general that no one is home.
Y'all, this set me over the edge. I told her I didn't understand why she's going through all this trouble to lie to me. We own multiple vehicles, and there were at least 2 or 3 in the driveway all day each delivery attempt. She interrupts me mid-speech to say she didn't even bring the parcel with her today. It's still at the post office and that I can go there and get it myself. I told her no, absolutely not. This is her job and she's going to do it. I wrote out exactly what all has transpired on the report and sent that in along with my video recordings. Let's see what comes of it. Okay, so I am unaware of USPS's hiring processes. Aren't there like physical requirements for the job? Like you can't have so-and-so conditions and that you have to be able to do this and this? Because it wouldn't make sense otherwise because you're handling packages all day of varying sizes and weights and densities and all that jazz. So yeah, she does not deserve that job if she's not even gonna do the bare minimum.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.